Welcome to the Mission Impossible Roundtable. We know I'm Venomology.
ARNDXB Photos.
I'm with the reviews.
And this is a special guest,
Hello,
Thenura.
everyone.
He is here because he is a die-hard fan of the Mission Impossible franchise. So what do you think about the new one? What are your thoughts?
Before, let me just bring this up. Let me just mention this, right? Most people, like, if they were born around the time I was, when they're 6 or 7 year olds, they're massive fans of things like, you know, maybe the kickoff of the MCU or even like Disney Channel originals. Then there's 6-year-old Thenura going with his dad to the theater to watch Ghost Protocol.
6 year? You were 6?
I think I was 6 or 7, yeah.
Well, when were you born?
2004.
Dude, say
What?
There's no way. What? I'm 2004 as well.
Yeah, exactly. We already had this discussion, bro.
Wait. You guys are the age of my youngest brother. Oh my
Oh my
Let's
God.
go, bro. We're the young guy.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I don't want to say what year I was born.
Yeah, you're 40, bro.
Yo, alright, that's wild. That's wild.
Okay. Speaking of people who don't age, let's come back to Tom Cruise.
Okay, yes.
No. Speaking of Tom Cruise, tell me the story of how you met Tom Cruise.
Yeah, before we
Yo.
do anything Mission Impossible related, right? You explain this phenomenon right now. Come on.
Come on, we need to hear from
You want
you.
the full story?
Yeah, the whole story.
No, I don't think we have to mention the last bit of contact details and stuff.
No, that's fine.
Right,
The whole thing. Let's drop it for the people, for the culture.
Like this is
For the culture.
this is why.
Oh, what are we on?
I think like
What are we, some
out
kind
of
of
all the
culture?
celebrities I've met, Tom Cruise definitely gonna be a top 3 experience. And he's just genuinely like a really good human. Like, you know, he knows his fans is what makes him. So he really like gives that back. Okay, so now what happened is, like I was just scrolling through Instagram one day and then I get this email, like, you know, it's a mission, this is your mission, should you choose to accept it? I'm like, okay, what is going on here? Tapped on it, looked at it, and then they're like, oh, this is a very high secret invitation to the the fan zone for the premiere of Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. I text this guy immediately. I was like, send me your Emirates ID details right now.
He didn't even say why. He's
yeah.
just like, send me your ID, send me your password. I'm like, okay.
Like, this is why I love
Could
this
be for
guy.
anything.
He just
Could
goes-
be-
yeah,
you know, it could be like-
nothing. But he trusted. He sent it to me. And then next thing you know, he gets the same email as well because I registered for both of us. We head to the premiere in Abu Dhabi. Bro, it was a fancy place. What was it? Emirates Palace.
No,
Oh my
first the
days.
first
the
what they
setup
told
was
us was
crazy.
that for the invite, we went to what was it? The Abu Dhabi Marina Mall. We got there super early. Well, we'll go to the food court. We're sitting in the food court. We're having dinner, and I remember I was looking around like as if Tom Cruise is going to be walking around the mall. Who knows?
Trying to
man?
catch
Who
any
knows?
point, some glimpse of him before
We-
that.
and then we had like the art printed out. There's only 4 pieces of that, by the way. One which I
Exclusive
own, one which
Venomology
he owns,
art.
one which our friend Asad owns, and another which
Which
is
our
owned
friend
by
Majito
another
owns.
Majito owns. There's only 4 in the world that exist. And that art piece was made like the night before because I was running out of ideas. Like, what do I do? What captures like
Just
the
trying
Abu
to pull it
Dhabi
off,
aspect of it
basically.
as well? Because it's shot in Abu Dhabi. So I was like, I looked through the trailer again and there's like, okay, there's a scene in the desert. Okay, I'll capture the horse because this is important for like the interaction
of
that comes
course.
to. And the horse, the desert, and then the plane, the bike. Okay, so I included all those elements, made it real quick. Like, it took me like a few hours to make it. And then I sent to Raffae. Raffae's like, yo, how do you cook this up in like such a short time? He's like, leave that, man. Get this printed now. And he gets it done. We head to Abu Dhabi. We take they arrange a shuttle bus from the Marina Mall till the hotel because they didn't want like traffic coming up. Went in, and then the lady like over there, she greets us. She's like, oh, she gives us these like postcards. She's like,
They were handing them out to
take
everyone
these,
that was there.
and then
So
she,
like
and then
a
you were,
token,
and then
basically.
I don't know why they assigned like a team for everyone. So basically, whatever team you were, you got placed in a specific place. So I was team Ethan. I don't know what team you were in.
I wasn't Ethan. I was Benji.
You were Benji. I was Ethan. So I got placed.
I can see that.
And then there
I
was.
can see it, Benji. To be very fair, I can see that.
And then there was Luther, and then there's another one. I don't know who the other one was.
Benji Luther. Was it
It was the villain.
Oh, it was the villain. Oh,
And then we got placed, whatever, and then it took some time, like half an hour, 1 hour to like, and then the first person to come out.
And we stood
Tom
there and we
Cruise.
were waiting. And
And then everyone just rushes to where he is to
I
you
hate
were
hearing the
assigned
story, man.
places. You were
I
assigned
always hate hearing this story.
You were assigned places, and people yet broke that rule. They were like, you know what? I'm just gonna go into the Team Ethan zone because he's there. Because they didn't know okay. When you see a celebrity like of his status walk out, you wanna go. You wanna get
makes
a chance
sense.
to meet
Makes
them.
sense.
You
I would've
wanna
done
get
that.
a chance.
He's
So-
the definition of star power.
Exactly. So and then all these people rush. They're like we're crowded. Like me, Asad, Rafie, we're all like
Mashed in together,
Everyone
basically.
was
mashed because and then
squishing
the
up
one
to
thing
where
that
he was.
really helps is because we had a very unique piece of artwork. Everyone just had postcards,
Okay.
or like maybe they had a few smart people managed to print out like Top Gun posters or whatnot. But then these are like existing official
Nothing
merchandise.
that
we had was-
you guys
But
said
then-
something that the public had never seen, basically.
Never
Yes.
seen, and it was
That's
and
right.
it
to
and
the
it
point
put
that when we
the
were in the shuttle going, so many people asked, where'd you get this? Where'd you get this? Where'd you get this?
I
and then-
made it.
that's my dialogue. I made this, and then Tom comes out. And then he sees the thing. It comes straight to us. Like he skips a few people, it comes straight to us. Takes the poster off my hands, and he's like, "Damn, that's really cool." And then he calls out the
he's
Chris
like,
McQuarrie, the
Chris,
director.
take a look at
Come
this."
over here. Take a look at this. And then he calls his assistant as well. And then he's like, who
And then
who
and Chris
made
is
this?
like, who?
And then
It's like, who?
I'm
made
getting
this?
squished by people, like, and I'm being like hidden up because there's so many people just dying, to come out take a picture, and he's just there. And then what happens? And then these guys, he's big, like he can make it through. He's like,
Why did you just go straight forward?
no, that's an advantage.
It
That's an
helped.
advantage.
There was that, yeah.
Everyone was like,
I mean, we've seen
me,
a bunch.
Yeah, like at that time, like,
Asad-
especially it was even smaller back then, just 2 years ago. And then I'm getting squished, and then like he can't see who, and then they keep saying, "Oh, this guy made it. This guy made it." He
and you
comes
can
out.
hear him saying, I made it. I made it.
He was probably getting strained against the back. Like, I made it.
and then he comes up, and then he's like, "Oh, this is some really cool stuff." And then he starts talking to me about, "Oh, I love how you captured like the Abu Dhabi aspect of it." And he gives us the backstory of the horse.
He told us the horse's
the horse's
name
name was
The
Zeus.
backstory of
The
the
horse's
horse.
name was Zeus, and then he was telling us about his, we spoke to him for like a good 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
When everyone
That's-
else, the time they were getting were like 15, 20 seconds tops.
You got his undivided attention.
Huh?
Yes.
Yeah,
we
he
And he
definitely
took his
did.
contact details.
Because wait.
That's my favorite.
And then he calls his assistant, and then he's like, "Can you take a picture of this?" And then she goes like, "No, this is not official stuff." He's like, "No, just take a picture of it." And then he holds it out for his assistant to take a picture. They do that, and then I think because I'm getting thrown back by the crowd, and then these guys were the only ones I had. And then I think I saw and heard him say, "Oh yeah, take his details,
Yeah,
please."
Tom Cruise.
And then I get
the two
thrown
of
back.
us
I
were
get
there,
thrown back
and his
completely, and then I
assistant
don't know
was
what
asking.
happened after this. I'm pushed behind the crowd at this point, and then these guys. They met the assistant. They gave him my contact details. I don't know why Tom Cruise took them and what he did with them, but that number has been dead for over a year.
Exactly what I was gonna mention.
This is why when she was asking, I was giving his Instagram as well, like etymology.
Good.
And then I held out his Instagram, and then his assistant took a photo of my phone, so he has the Instagram as well.
No,
I
good
don't
thing,
know,
because
man.
I'm just gonna say this right now. Here,
For all you know, Tom Cruise is already following
wait,
you from
for
a
all
hidden
you
account.
know, right? He's probably been messaging you for a good 3 months. Like, we need a promotional.
No,
post
but
for
no.
you.
If you wanted to, if it was a WhatsApp text, that it's still active. Like he can text
Okay,
me. But
fine,
then
fine.
if he's direct calling it, that's something that's not
He
happening.
seems like the type of guy that'll be like, I don't think WhatsApp messages work. I need to call this guy.
I remember one random day you wake up and you're like, "Hello, it's Tom Cruise." Would you believe it?
This is your mission.
But-
Should you choose to accept it?
And then
I accept.
Nah, it's Maverick calling you instead.
Nah, tomorrow I'm gonna call him on Tom Cruise voice.
Let me come back to the story. So this is the best part of the thing. So you know how everyone's rushing to
Yeah.
meet Tom Cruise. No one is trying to has this idea in their mind that Simon Pegg is about to come out, Haley Atwell is about to come out, Paul Clement Tiff is about to come out. Who else was there?
Chris McCoy.
Chris McCoy.
Chris McCoy, we
Chris
already
McCoy
got
was-
by this point.
I forgot
I
his
think it was
name.
just
but
them.
Was just them?
No, even
No.
Luther. Even
No.
Luther.
No,
came-
Luther didn't come.
no,
Luther,
Luther-
Luther,
he
he wasn't
wasn't
there.
there,
Wasn't
never
there.
mind.
There was only
There was only them.
5 of them in total.
Yes,
yeah.
there was only 5 of them.
So what I'm pushed back. Now I'm in a free zone. Like I'm open. And then I saw where the entrance, where these guys were coming out of, all these stars. I rushed over there. It was empty. No one was there. Everyone
He
busy with
rushed
Tom
over
Cruise.
there and he
Bro.
told us
And then
come to come, and
we all
went.
got our autographs. We all got pictures with
and
them.
that was like
we got
without
pictures
the,
with.
without the stress. Well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say not the stress, but without the overarching stress that you were dealing
Yeah,
with.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we rushed to the
basically want me to
entrance.
turn
We
into
went
a
to the other
pancake.
place where they were coming out of. So when Haley Atwell came, we had like a proper, nice, relaxed conversation and time with her. And then when Simon Pegg came out, where's the marker, by the way? That marker has been held by
Yeah,
like
somewhere
God knows.
it's somewhere in some room the marker that they all use. Because see, that's what another
Batista
thing we
used
thought.
the marker as well.
That's another thing we thought is when we went,
Yeah,
when we
for
were
Dune
on the way
last
to
year.
Abu Dhabi,
Okay.
and we're like, what if they don't have markers? And we stopped at a petrol pump and just picked up 2 random markers.
Those markers are going to be held by legendary people.
Yes,
Yeah.
Dave Batista, the whole cast of Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning.
Not
Haley-
only that's probably not only the most celebrity touched marker of all time, but the value of that marker
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
increased.
No, I have a marker that's touched by Benedict Cumberbatch.
Huh?
Yeah, Benedict
What?
Cumberbatch.
Oh yeah, Red
Yeah,
Sea.
the Red Sea one.
Red
Andrew
Sea.
Garfield and what's his name?
The only thing I can contribute
Yeah,
to
yeah, all
this
three of
is
them.
I got dapped up by Travis Scott. Like that's the furthest, that's the furthest I can bring to this.
But that's
right now.
crazy. That's harder to
And then,
Yeah,
Yeah, I say that to the number of
best
people
part about
attacking
this
him.
poster, after we got it signed by everyone and the event finished and we were leaving,
I feel
we
like I
left
know this is
all
going.
4 posters on a table. We left them to dry out. They were like, it's still ink, wet ink. I'm like, you need to sign it as well. So like, not only is it signed by the entire cast, a big thing as well. It's signed by the artist as well.
So
I mean,
ladies
that
and
must be a
gentlemen-
most precious memory of all time, I guess. In the
No, that was until this year's MEFCC.
Oh,
That
yeah,
changed.
Yes.
Most
But
That
that's,
changed
that's a whole
everything.
other
That's a
episode.
whole other episode in itself.
No,
to be
that
frank.
episode's supposed to drop by now.
Oh, okay.
We,
so
we did talk about
for
this
those
in
of
the
you
previous
watching,
episode.
check out episode number 2.
The previous,
the previous
there's
episode.
no
Previous
numbers.
episode.
I don't think there's numbers. It's by topic. I think
It's by topic.
we'll just link it somewhere
Yeah,
up here.
We'll link it
link in by.
Not
But I
bio,
guess-
somewhere up here.
Somewhere up here.
Somewhere
Okay, it's right here.
What?
It's right
Don't say
here.
up here. This
It's
season
right
will
here, no, it's
continue.
right here.
See,
guys,
in
it's
the
right here.
top
Yeah.
right
Oh, yeah.
corner, there's gonna be like a
The eye.
thing that pops up.
Just go for that.
Pops up.
We're pointing to here, but for all we know, a YouTube update will have it on this side. to be frank.
Somewhere,
Somewhere
Yeah,
above us.
somewhere above
everyone
us,
knows
yeah.
how YouTube
Look up.
works.
Okay, now other than the celebrity aspect of all this, Dead Reckoning, known for the mountain bike
Yeah.
stunt. We have Final Reckoning. That's been like the buzz around it is the plane,
Yeah,
especially
and
the
I
plane
wanna-
sequence.
I do wanna talk
and
about
then
that for a
the
second,
underwater sequence, which I think we haven't seen anything of.
No.
And that's the most praised scene.
Yeah.
From what the reviews are saying.
The thing, I'll say this, like, the thing what I like specifically, I know everyone's hyped for the underwater scene in specific, but for me, it's going to be the plane scene because I don't know if you guys saw any of the interviews from the Cannes Film Festival. From
It's
the
fine.
Cannes Film Festival is basically McHugh and Cruz were having their interview on stage. I think just before or after the film was being like showcased on the screen, and they explained how Tom did that stunt by himself, not just like him driving the plane. Because what you have to understand is that is an old school style rotor plane that can go up to 10,000 feet.
It's a propeller.
Yeah, it's a propeller plane, and that's only a single
Speaking
seat.
from an aeronautical engineer himself.
Exactly.
He's putting his engineering side.
But yeah, so that is a double seater, and it's only been driven by him. The second seat is housing all the camera and the mechanical equipment. So in addition to positioning the plane against the sun and the lighting, the camera, the sounding, that is all controlled by Tom Cruise while you're seeing that stunt. So when you're going to be watching that film, that stunt is basically directed, executive produced, credited by Tom Cruise.
See, this is why I love Tom Cruise, because he gets, as an actor, he gets the technical side of
Yeah.
filmmaking as well. That's why I think he's confident in doing all these stunts.
Yeah, like you cannot deny that even...
But we have to admit, like, hanging off a plane is not that for Tom Cruise. It's like, okay, it's fine. Oh, you want me to do that?
Okay, yeah, it's fine, but for the $600 million insured to his name and the company, everyone else, they're like, okay, we cannot lose this guy.
I don't know, like a part of me says that we've already seen this before in previous installments, haven't we? We've already seen the underwater sequence. We've already seen the hanging off a plane. It's nothing.
Yeah, Rogue Nation.
No,
did,
yeah,
this is
hang off a-
nothing different, but what makes this
But the-
final film, if I may say, that what makes this final film unique is if you're someone that's seen all the previous
It's more like a
films,
callback to the.
it's
sequence.
callbacks at a more extreme level. Because if you've seen the first 3 films, they've have zero links or connections involved
Yes.
in it.
Yes.
1996, it was a standalone introduction. It was basically made in recall to the 60s TV show. Then you have I personally believe the second film is too overhated. It was a pretty decent film.
I mean, I watched it at an age where I'm like, damn, that's so cool.
The only reason I love that film, I'll tell you straight up.
I
Hans
know why.
Zimmer.
Oh yeah,
Hans
was
Zimmer,
his
that's
score
the
production.
only Mission Impossible film scored by Hans
Yeah.
Zimmer. And I love the soundtrack, Bear Island.
Fair. So yeah,
Who directed that one?
John
John
Woo.
Woo.
Oh, okay.
So,
John Woo, like, that's crazy.
That's a big name.
See, if you see, Mission Impossible has like the craziest lineup of directors. The first one, Brian De Palma. Second one,
Exactly.
John Woo. Third one, J.J. Abrams. Fourth one was Brad Bird.
Brad Bird.
And
then
then fifth
it's-
one onwards,
is
Chris McQuarrie.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Legend
But
of a director.
The one thing I like specifically about Mission Impossible that a lot of I'm not gonna name any other film series on this, but one thing I like about them is that they learned from the mistake of the first three films where they didn't build on towards any direction.
Yes.
When the fourth film was coming in, and you have to understand this was around between 2006 and 2011. Even Tom Cruise's career was entering a stagnant situation. Films like Operation Valkyrie basically were near flops.
And even he did Reacher, Jack Reacher.
Reacher.
right?
Jack Reacher, yeah.
Like,
And
despite
also-
Operation Valkyrie was still a good movie,
No,
but
no, it was a good movie, but to
Yeah.
so many people's standards, they were like, it wasn't.
financially wise, it wasn't
Exactly.
didn't do very well.
So the fourth film, they actually decided to try something they haven't done, which is hang on to one main detail from the previous film, which is his wife.
Yes.
And from there, they actually started building it towards a universe. You have new actors coming in that stayed. You didn't have like, it was always Tom and it was always Ethan and Luther, and then the rest of the team changed. This time it was just Ethan. Then Ethan, Luther, and Benji became the trio across all the films, even till now. So they learned from their mistakes, as much as many people would say like, oh, it's an overzealous. I'm just gonna say it. There's people that say it's just a overhyped Bond series. No way.
No.
There's
no.
no way
Right,
a
different.
film that's a series that spans 30 years and just 7 to 8 films exists this long without its own creativity and
It's more
imagination.
like Bond mixed with Fast and Furious, like a mix of it.
No, James Bond
No,
is
that is like a
based,
very Bond is more classy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Bond
Yeah,
is a
exactly.
classy guy. Hunt is different. Ethan Hunt is
Yeah.
I mean, he's American. What do you
completely-
expect?
No, but in the sense like this is also. I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm only coming right from the Mission Impossible perspective. Is that I don't think we've seen too many spy films that take a situation where the agent has zero backing and is actually trying to help them instead of defying them.
What do you mean?
So, apart from Fallout, every other film, he's Fallout and the second and partially the third film, he was always either disavowed, he has no backing from the
Oh,
from the
yeah,
IMF,
yeah, in that
and
sense,
yet
yes.
he tries to save the world, not go against it.
Yes.
And
yes.
then you have so many spy films that talk about the rogue side of a spy instead. This is a
Yes.
very refreshing take on that.
Yes.
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 Agreed. But then
He's still a
speaking
good
of
guy.
all this, right? I just want to know, favorite MI film? Go.
Oh my
Ghost
God.
Protocol.
You have to come back to me. This is tough, man. Okay, actually, you know what? Fallout.
My guy.
Fallout.
My guy. Fallout is
Fallout
the
only for
goat.
one pure
That's a tough
reason.
one.
Henry
It's a-
Cavill. For me, come on,
docking
man.
scene,
The
that was
arm
on scene.
reload.
No, for me, Fallout because they bring back his wife. I forgot the
You know he
actress'
did that in
name, but they
Deadpool
brought her
Wolverine
back.
as well.
I don't remember.
They bring back Jules, yeah, but at the end of the film, when they go to the mountains, they see Ethan's, well, now ex-wife, of course, with her new husband, the doctor. I forgot the actress's name and the character name. It's so
I
bad of
forgot
me.
this.
But yeah,
forgot
and
this
she
as
helped
well.
in disarming the bomb. She remembered her stuff from back in the day. Like, they kept
I
that
remember
character
that,
going.
but I don't remember
Her
the
name.
name. The actress' name.
Yeah.
That's one. But for me, it's a toss up between Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation as well.
Yeah, you can't
Because
go wrong with
Ghost
this.
Protocol for me, like I swear, I've
Oh, it's
said this.
personal. Especially
It's
living
personal
in
because
Dubai.
at
Living in
that
Dubai-
time when it released, everyone was
Yeah.
talking about Tom Cruise climbing the
See,
Burj Khalifa.
I
That
saw
was
that.
the moment.
I saw that.
Exactly.
That's-
Look.
That's what introduced me to the film.
Look,
Yeah.
look. I'll tell you this. Like growing up in our families, right? We very like the way they show content to us is very sensitive. They make sure like, oh, you don't see anything because Hollywood movies tend to like go adult usually a lot. So we're very restricted. Like most of the movies I'd watch until Ghost Protocol were like animated films in cinemas or like Marvel, Spider-Man, Batman, these type of films.
Panda.
And then this was like the first film I watched like a live action,
Yeah.
this big and purely because everyone was excited because of the Burj Khalifa stunt.
Exactly.
Shot in Dubai and as well as India.
Oh yeah, in
Oh, yeah,
Mumbai,
it's
the
shot
whole
in
car
Mumbai.
The whole
chasing.
thing in
yeah,
India.
yeah.
The
And
car
then the
park scene.
BMW i8, to see
Oh,
and see
yeah.
that
I
as
need
a
to
kid.
rewatch that movie right
To
now.
see
like,
that,
after
I
I'm gonna
rewatched
do
it
that
last
right
week.
now.
I just
Yeah.
we rewatched it last week, and then we're like, oh damn! And the
Exactly.
funniest thing, like this is what like the Dubai residents are gonna love. We noticed Tom Cruise. He runs out of the Burj Khalifa chasing. I forgot the guy's name.
Freaking
The-
Kurt Hendricks.
Kurt Hendricks.
Yes,
His name is
yes.
Hendricks, yeah.
He goes out chasing him.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're gonna bring
He
up.
goes from the Burj Khalifa all the way to Financial Center in like 2 minutes.
He go that
In 2
plus
minutes, bro,
he
I
gets
Burj
his,
Khalifa to Emirates now.
he
Like,
gets his car chase from Financial Center all the way to Infinity Bridge in like 5 minutes. Come on.
In
While
this
not
Dubai
being able to
traffic,
see
I
No,
know,
anything.
if you think about it, the shops he was running through he basically goes from Burj Khalifa to Financial Center to freaking Old Dera Creek.
At this point, they should have just made him stop in like a Kukulshai or something.
I mean, listen.
One correct, please.
I genuinely feel if he had that back in the day, one dirham karak, he would have caught him easy. Easy
Oh, but there
catch.
was a sandstorm going on, so like.
Oh,
Hey, when in doubt, have a chai.
I mean, I've never had chai. I don't plan to.
Okay, now that's what we're doing before we go out of here. But no, like that's
But
okay.
it's a special touch. You see Dubai
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I recognize this place.
No, but when you look at even all the films, the locations they shoot at, right? They don't just they don't just say, oh, we're going to this specific place. Like no, they focus on the area, the geography, and everything.
The culture as well.
Yeah, they take a lot of things into consideration. It's not like you just go there and you assume everywhere is the same. The way they shot the scene in Dubai with the Burj Khalifa, but then the way they had to change the entire setup for Dead Reckoning Part 1 in the airport and the setup. They could have easily said that, they're using Abu Dhabi airport and then say that in Dubai because everyone remembers Dubai.
definitely.
But no,
They stay true to the
They
roots.
stay true to the roots. And the same thing can be said when they were shooting in the US, when they were in Washington, when they were in Chicago in the 1st film. They did try their best to ensure that, there's a cultural respect, even though we're in the same country, every area is shown its right roots.
Mm-hmm. You know what's interesting about like the area? Now that you mentioned the area and stuff, I read yesterday that because of Tom Cruise and the whole concept of the Mission Impossible series being like a global espionage thriller genre, like that genre, this is what shifted the whole film marketing scene.
Yes, he
I would not be
invented the
shocked.
international
that's
press
true,
tour.
that's true.
Like the international press tour where celebrities go out and promote the film is because Tom Cruise pushed for that.
And that's just not the only thing that he pushed for. Now Oscars has a stunt category just
Exactly.
because of
It pains my heart that
Jackie
Oscars
Chan,
decided to
like,
introduce
Stunts
a stunts
after
category.
the final movie.
After
Me,
the
Tom
end
Cruise,
of the
for
mission.
me, I feel bad for Jackie Chan.
That exactly.
yeah, that's the thing
Over
as well.
200
True,
films
true,
across Hong Kong, Chinese, and American cinema. Bro's broken every bone of his body,
We
including the
need like a
sensitive
collab
end.
movie with Jackie Chan and Tom Cruise after the category.
Isn't there anything? So
There's
I do
nothing, but I will say that
Oh my God.
I wouldn't be too hyped if that happens because they're two very different styles.
Yeah,
They're
but
two very different styles,
Yeah.
and also you have
you know
to think.
who I think there might be a common link as a director, John Woo perhaps.
It could
perhaps
be, but here's what you have to remember.
no
Jackie
insurance
Chan-
company is backing this
Exactly. That's the number one thing. Like here's the thing. Imagine being like, okay, you could be Paramount, right? You're going to the Bank of America, like we have 40-year relationship, everything go wrong. You immediately forget Tom Cruise, you show Jackie Chan, they're gonna be like, nope. No. You know Jackie Chan and his stunt team is blacklisted across all insurance companies, right?
film. Yes.
What?
Yeah, they don't insure him. They don't-
That's American
crazy.
insurance companies.
No, not just American.
Not
even
just
in Hong
American.
Kong.
Oh,
Even
okay.
Hong Kong.
even
So
Hong Kong.
so Jackie Chan's stunt team started in Hong Kong. Hong Kong doesn't insure them. No company insures Jackie Chan and
it
his
has to
stunt-
be a crazy flex though.
I want to know, like, how do you pitch? I'm trying to imagine. If you imagine going to someone and pitching like a fully choreographed fight scene which ends with both of them falling out of an airplane. How do you go to someone and say like, yeah, so we have this idea and we need to insure the stars. We need insurance policy on both of them, and you tell them this idea. They're like, so they're gonna fight in a plane and then fall out of the plane.
Here's the bigger question than those two surviving. What happens to the plane?
that definitely gets the insurance.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think Airbus or Boeing are gonna be like, we're not giving you a plane without insurance policies, dude.
No, but I don't think they would use Airbus or
No, but
Boeing.
you get the point.
But you know who did though? Nolan did in Tenet.
All right.
Crashed the whole 747.
Listen, no, we don't discuss.
Practically.
Listen, no.
I think
feel
even
like-
for Dark Knight Rises there was, right?
Yes.
What was the plane?
It was no.
It was a private jet.
It was a
But
private
I
jet.
don't
Gulfstream.
think that.
It was a
that
Gulfstream.
I
It was a
think
Gulfstream.
that
I
was
think so, it was a
probably.
Gulfstream.
It was a
that
Gulfstream.
practical?
No. Yes,
No, that was practical. That was
That
practical.
was also
I
practical.
will say this, right?
It's
If
Christopher Nolan, man.
no, if we have to name
Looking bringing out the
actors,
monster for the Odyssey.
If he could, he would have set off an actual nuke for Oppenheimer. If he
He
had,
did, but
He
just
did,
smaller
like,
scale.
Smaller scale. No.
But
I
not a
mean, like, he
nuke.
would have
not
set
an,
off
giant
IC, not an
explosive.
ICBM, a bazooka.
But
It's-
I'm quite interested to see how he would tackle the Odyssey, because that's a film that's completely supposed to be relied on CGI because of the whole monsters and stuff that goes on in the film.
we will leave it to
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan. I
No,
believe
See,
it does-
this is one thing that now that like the final reckoning is like the conclusion of this saga, right? Many people are saying like it's kind of like marking, even though Tom Cruise has said he's not retiring from film, like it kind of marks his towards
No.
the,
Yeah,
like
it's
the
like an
sign
era.
towards
It's
the
like
end
an
of his
end of an
career.
era. Yeah.
But then like this is what many people are like thinking. Right before they want him to retire, right? Before he retires, people want a collaboration between Chris Nolan and Tom Cruise. That is like the
No, that will-
ultimate. See, that is what's
No,
gonna
hear
get
me out. Hear me out.
insurance
Hear me out.
companies
Hear
to
me
say
out.
yes.
No, hear me out. Hear me out.
No, I want. I'm sorry. I have a
Christopher
thought on
Nolan
this.
has always wanted to direct a Bond movie. How would you see Tom Cruise's Bond?
No, he's American.
No,
he's American.
What if?
No, the thing.
With
no,
Amazon getting the whole rights to the properties and
No.
shit.
No,
Still-
no.
No, here's what you have
He's-
to.
I want to
They
see
wouldn't-
Cavill as Bond,
Yeah.
but like that's
But
a
here's
whole
the
other
thing.
story.
Here's the thing you have
There's
to
way too
understand.
many options for Bond. That's a whole other thing.
Here's the thing you have to understand with Cruise, specifically when it comes to his movies, right? Like, in this, specifically, let's talking about Mission Impossible, right? In regards to both them working, I personally feel, and you guys correct me on this if you feel, is that the Mission Impossible franchise, as much as I love it, has also kind of kept him a block towards working with so many other people and so many other directors and
Yes.
production houses. Because here, the thing you have to understand is Mission Impossible is Cruise's baby.
Right.
Like even the first film, while he didn't have that much control, he was the one that pitched the idea to revamp it. So for him, until Mission Impossible, Ethan Hunt leaves the series, he's kind of locked in towards what he can work on. But with this ending, the door's open. A Christopher Nolan X Tom Cruise film is definitely open. And hey, I might as well say, like, even though I don't want to see it, a Jackie Chan Tom Cruise is open to it as well. Like, this opens him up to a lot more possibilities, but they have to be very smart with how they play it.
I hope we get something like Edge of Tomorrow because that was a goated movie. You know?
See, like Tom Cruise,
Nothing.
he has been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
He knows he had a career before Mission Impossible. He'll have a career after Mission
Yeah,
Impossible.
freaking risky business.
Risky business.
Tropic
Top
Thunder.
Gun, Tropic
Tropic Thunder. And even
Tropic
Jerry
Thunder,
Maguire.
Jerry Maguire.
But
he's done so
Rain
much.
Man.
Yeah, but the
Rain Man.
the thing to
Yes.
note now is that since Mission Impossible, he's kind of established himself as an action movie star and a very specific one. Cruise is smart. He's not gonna just openly go like, okay, I'm gonna go do this.
Yeah.
He is smart to know that at his age, and as well as at his status around the world. Like right now, collectively here, I think only we're a select group of few people that know his past work before all this. Like, I'm pretty sure people now, like, let's say post 2010, probably would have not heard of Risky Business or even Tropic Thunder unless they went online or someone really told them, okay, you like Tom Cruise, you gotta watch this right now.
No.
So that's why he has to play it very smart as well. But I will happily say the door's open, but it also comes down to the performance of this film.
Definitely.
Ah,
but
because-
especially going against Lilo and Stitch, I am
No, it's
doubting.
completely two different audiences.
It is.
Yeah, it's
It is.
different.
But then, like, look again. Lilo and Stitch is your perfect family film. It's a perfect family film. And then what are you gonna like? If you're gonna go to the cinema, right? Like you're gonna, and this is the one movie like you can take your family to. Are you really gonna go watch Mission Impossible? Because we've
drop
seen.
your kids off in
here's the
back-to-back
thing. No,
shows of
it's,
Lilo and
there's
Stitch
a
and
very
watch
strong
Mission
chance it's
Impossible.
possible
because the same thing happened last time
Because
because
with Dead Reckoning
Yeah.
Part 1, you had
Oppenheimer
you
and
had-
Barbie the next weekend.
Yeah,
No, that-
and that shut off business.
Yeah.
for
No,
No,
everyone.
but you have to look at it from that perspective. You had two films. So you had Barbie and Oppenheimer, right? Those two films specifically, look at what was backing that in terms of director, in terms of star power.
Yeah.
Everything there. Like, in one side, you had Margot Robbie, and the other side, you had Cillian Murphy.
But you have Stitch.
Okay, you have Stitch, but in terms of star power
We have
wise,
Stitch.
it's-
We have a Stitch.
like when you look at Barbieheimer, right? You almost had to make a decision on which side you gotta go for. In terms
Well,
of
for
what-
both.
No,
Many
no,
people
no, no,
went
yeah,
for
you can
Yeah,
go.
yeah, that was the Barbenheimer. That was supposed to be.
Yeah, but no, you go for both. But at the same time, a lot of people would say that okay, they're gonna watch one, watch another one. For example, you can go into public right now. So many people will say they've not seen Oppenheimer or they've not seen Barbie still
Yes.
till this day. But if you pitch Lilo and Stitch and what do you call
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible, there's a chance that a lot of people, apart from obviously
Oh,
the
yeah,
younger
in that
generation,
sense, okay.
they would have seen both of them in cinema as well. Primarily because I don't know if I'm allowed to address this right now, but there's no beef or hate backing either side. There is a collective want for people to see both the films.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a fair point.
There's a lot
Really
of
fair
collectiveness
point.
to see both. But no, box office wise, I know for a fact that's going to be Lilo and Stitch making the money.
Yeah, it's a family friendly
Yeah.
movie.
It's PG
marketed
versus
to-
15 plus.
No,
it's
I don't
marketed
think
to a
this is
bigger.
15.
No, but like, okay, PG 13
That's
even.
13.
No, but
max.
still, you have a PG 13 sign against the G sign.
But even after that, the
PG-13
story
pretty
was
much anyone can
really
do.
Yeah, that's
emotionally
also fair.
heavy though. The story was like really emotional.
That's also true.
But this is the last Mission Impossible. This will
But
be
then
very
see, the
emotional.
other problem is the 3-hour runtime against
Yeah, that is a
Lilo and
very-
Stitch's
hour and a
like
half?
hour and a half.
Yeah.
No, but again, that's expected to happen.
That's just
No,
a
but-
whole like cinema business thing. Or you have a
Yeah.
shorter movie, you have more viewings, you can watch, play more, you can
Exactly.
make more money off it. That doesn't really necessarily mean that it's a better movie.
And to be-
That's just a business thing. It's a
Yeah. And to be
quantity
very
thing.
honest, if you want to talk even more detail towards the business side of cinema, right? And okay, I'm about to cause a lot of arguments right now by saying this. Box office doesn't always mean like the highest indicator towards
No, definitely.
success.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
if, you
obviously.
go
Definitely
to,
not.
if we go back to like the 90s and 80s, right now we are paying almost $15 for a base rate ticket. Back then it would probably have been $2 or $3 with the
Yes.
drive-in cinema.
But then that's adjusting for
Yeah,
inflation
that's
to an
adjusting for
extent. To an
inflation.
extent.
Yeah. But no, at the end, like these two films, if you want to make the argument, yes, you can say there's going to be like a what's it, Lilo Stitch versus Mission Impossible. What would the nickname be for this one?
Lilo is
Hunting
impossible.
Stitch. Hunting
Or the
Stitch.
Hunting
yeah.
Stitch.
Okay, Hunting Stitch, right? A Hunting Stitch battle. It's not gonna be an equal game, but both films are gonna succeed very well on the
Yes.
market. That's gonna
How
be that.
many- there's the amount of there's I think 27, 28 films that have crossed that $1 billion mark. You don't like. Even if it makes any of these movies make $500,000, $500,000 is a lot
Half
of
a
money.
billion,
Half a billion, yeah.
Sorry, it's a lot of money. People
Exactly.
No,
think-
but for
For-
Mission
that's
Impossible,
exactly- that's the
they will
thing.
just break even.
No, but that's because like let's be realistic. I don't think an
costs
insurance
are
company is gonna back a
way too
10,000
high.
foot plane being driven by Tom Cruise in the middle of some country with forests.
I think it's
Yeah, but
a
recently
market.
at the premiere, there
Yeah,
was
sure.
a bit of a stir that he linked up with Michael B. Jordan, and they said that they were going to make a movie as well together.
Oh. I would not
That's
be
going to
shocked.
be
I
a
would not be
very
shocked.
good movie
I would
because
not be
both of them have
What
insane
genre do you
star
think
power.
that's gonna be in?
I hope
Action?
he can fit a really good. I see Michael B. Jordan can fit really well into Top Gun. I feel I can see him right there.
But no, I want to see him there. But there also has to be a film where they both play like side by side. Not
Oh,
like
you know
in
what
Top
he
Gun
did with
where
Sinners?
we're
Yeah.
subsidiary character.
What he did with Sinners, that was like peak Michael B. Jordan. I feel like that's his favorite.
Oh,
that's
yes,
my
definitely.
favorite.
That is-
was the.
I think Michael B. Jordan, my favorite. I'll tell you, unironically, Fantastic Four.
Say that again.
We're gonna end the episode now. Thank you so much. nah.
Say that again.
Bro, listen.
Yeah, I just ruined myself.
Exactly.
Saying that.
Credibility denied.
But I'm happy. So
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, it's not like he's not departing. I'm so
No.
sure if they will Mission Impossible, the franchise won't die.
Mm-hmm.
But if Ethan Hunt is not there anymore, then
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is still part of it. I don't think he's gonna let go of Mission Impossible.
I
for his
really
whole
want
career.
him to dip his toes into the world of the MCU, because the MCU, like it's like the one weird franchise where star power does not matter.
Yeah.
Like
If anything,
it is the franchise
Yeah,
that
if-
is
no,
the
if
star.
anything,
I mean, we
Yeah.
had Angelina
you have to-
Jolie play
we
in
were-
like
No,
3
if
of
anything,
Yes,
them.
you
Like,
have
way
to more
better.
focus. If anything, it's about finding the right actor for the right Marvel character.
Yeah,
Or
you don't want to
Marvel
be like
Like,
Gore or
see,
something.
you're
Just
gonna
fun fact,
do
we were
Secret
checking
Wars,
this.
right?
Yeah, just fun fact, we were checking this. Of the highest grossing actors ever, out of the top 10 highest grossing actors, only 3 of them haven't been in a only 2 haven't been in a Marvel
film.
or Star Wars movie,
Wow.
and one of them is Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Who's the other one then?
I don't remember.
Is
who
it
the-
Rock? Green Johnson has to be, right?
Yes, I think it's The Rock.
Probably.
They're the
Yeah.
only 2 out of the top 10 highest grossing who haven't been part of these 2 universes.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine like Tom Cruise whose movies have
I
made
can see him as a superior
this-
Iron Man.
I will
Wade.
say
Like,
this,
I can
by
see
the way.
Exactly,
that.
superior
Yeah.
Iron
I will
Man.
say
You have,
this.
if you have Secret Wars coming up, you
Yeah,
have all
he's
these,
definitely
you know,
gonna be
you
the
can definitely
multiverse-
use them, you know.
multiverse
We're going
Multiverse.
all the way back to
To
No,
multiverse
no,
madness.
no, I'll say
Say this
this.
again.
I'll just say this, right? We're talking about Mission Impossible in this case. We're only focused on Tom Cruise, but then you have the other actors that have played. Like many people don't talk about it. For example, Ghost Protocol, Jeremy Renner's stunt in the CPU fan.
Oh,
That was.
yes.
I do not.
Yes.
I will
Really
say, if the Burj Khalifa scene was not there, tops to Jeremy Renner's scene.
Yes,
like that was
definitely.
without a doubt one of. Because here you have to think of it like this. Imagine trying to play. Like imagine a stunt where you have to manage against a fan, and you're also. I mean, obviously, you probably had the lines and everything, but moving in between hot, burning CPU power, plugging in a virus, then getting out of there. It was probably, for me, I feel like that was one of the more technically focused stunts in the entire film.
I have a question.
Jeremy
though.
Renner, I don't know why he got
I know-
pushed out of the.
No, he didn't get pushed out.
Wait, he's not in the new one?
No, you
He's
wanna
not
know
been there for a while.
He hasn't been there
been
since
there.
Rogue Nation. You know why?
Why?
And just someone reconfirmed this for me, but I almost when I saw this on an interview, he chose to film Tag over Fallout. He chose to film Tag over Fallout.
And then you have brilliant additions to MI
Haley
as
Atwell.
like Rebecca Ferguson.
Rebecca Ferguson,
Oh,
Ilsa
Ilsa Frost.
Frost.
Gosh, yeah.
Rebecca
I think
Ferguson,
that
Haley
was the-
Atwell as well.
Across
I really
all
like the
4
character.
films up until Rogue Nation,
Pom
that was
Clementif is also a very strong addition.
across all the films until I guess the 5th one. I will comfortably say I don't think. No, don't get me wrong. All the female actors that took part played brilliantly, but there was no one you could say had like the character arc to stay for the rest of the films until Ilsa Faust came in
Yes.
at Rogue Nation.
Yes. But I really wish they didn't kill off August Walker because he was like one of after Ethan Hunt. I think a character of that
Yeah.
was written like that would have put a dent in this franchise in a
True.
good way.
That's true.
Killing him off was like I still believe they shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. But it was
Because
all
everything about that character just exudes aura.
from Rogue Nation till
Yeah.
now.
So like the moment he does the arm
No,
reload,
not Rogue
it's
Nation,
just
Fallout,
spoilers,
my
guys.
bad.
Fallout.
Fallout
from
spoilers, guys.
But no, I'll tell you who's a
We're
character I
just a
wish.
few years late.
A character I actually genuinely wish they didn't kill off, and this is another controversial take, is I forgot Alec Baldwin. He played he was first the director of the CIA in Rogue Nation, became the secretary of the IMF.
I forgot his
I don't
character's
re-
I
I
name.
forgot his
recall.
character's name again. Now this is
Kittredge? No,
putting
it
me in a
wasn't
bad light because I know all the info, but I don't know the names. Like goddamn.
Kittredge?
No,
Kittredge is like
from
the
the first
first
film.
one.
From the first one,
Yeah.
come back. But no, like one thing, I think my biggest thing for Final Reckoning is going to be that. Firstly, I'm gonna say this right now. If there are a majority of bad reviews, it's gonna be because people have not seen the previous films,
Or
Prime-
don't remember at least.
or
Yeah,
don't remember.
That's
Sure.
why
Oh, yeah, or don't remember.
we had a bit of a rewatch.
Or don't remember.
Remember.
But the other thing is, there is going to be a lot of callbacks that people will not expect, especially.
I mean, there's
those that have
callbacks in
seen
the
it.
trailars that people don't see.
See the thing
Yeah.
I'm reading, right?
But that's why I
is
don't watch
a
trailers.
lot of it. a lot of the negative reviews come from the first act. A lot of it.
Yeah, from the first hour of the film.
and they're saying it's because they keep repeating the obvious. Like we know the
Yeah.
premise of the reckoning saga of Mission Impossible is based off AI versus humanity,
Exactly.
right? So apparently they keep repeating, "Oh, AI is bad. AI is bad." AI
I
is
just
bad,
hope they
AI
don't
is
go the
bad,
James
AI is
Bond route
bad."
and just kill
And
him
they're
off or
saying,
something.
and it's
I don't see
like
that
the
happening.
reviews clearly indicate like it's almost as if it's just poorly written dialogue that just keeps reiterating.
No, but
it
it
doesn't
is-
feel natural. That's what they say.
I feel like in terms of that, is that it's going to be very similar to the third film. Because in the third film at the start, it's basically, we see like Ethan Hunt retired, chilling with his wife, doing husband-wifey things, I don't know, that type of stuff. But then like a lot of that starting of the film, like, okay, yeah, he goes on a mission here and there, but it's primarily focused towards but more of the political backroom plays of what you'd expect in like a government agency. So I'm pretty sure that's what we can expect in the first 40 minutes to an hour of this film. But at the end of the day, I think when it comes down to at the end of this film, when we're gonna all leave, there's gonna be a lot of happy things we're gonna see. Like yes,
Yes.
Mission Impossible sort of pseudo ending in a way, giving Tom Cruise more openings. But then in a big question I'm gonna have is if they choose to continue this, who's gonna take
It
the upper
has
role.
to be a legacy sequel.
There's probably gonna be, yeah. It's not gonna
what
be
if-
that. It's
They
kind of
can't
gonna
just
be
turn off the franchise completely.
What
like,
if it
it's
ends
a very
the
big
way,
one.
Dude, $4 billion
Yeah.
across 30 years with 8 films. Like, you can't say no to the money.
What if it ends the
consider it money.
way Ghost Protocol ends, and the final scene is Ethan Hunt saying "Mission Possible"?
Oh my god.
Mission
Absolutely.
possible.
That's something that Nasser would say.
Freaking a mission accomplished. And then it's him like, no, not again. Damn it.
All right, before we end things here, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna ask you guys real quick. Before heading in, we're just about to head for the
Oh, yeah,
Dubai
for sure.
premiere
Yes.
at
Right
IMAX.
in 1 hour, we're
I'm
actually
just
gonna
gonna say
have
this right
Yeah.
We have to head out.
Before you guys close this,
Prediction ratings out of 10, go.
I'll go for like an 8.5 maybe.
I'm biased. 10 out of 10, bro.
10 out of 10?
But okay.
I would say also like 8.5.
I hope for a 9 out of 10, but I'm expecting a 7 out of 10.
Here's the thing. In most of the cases, I would argue. Like, I would literally be like, you are the demon. How dare you? But like, I understand that. Like, it's a very
Yeah.
valid point.
In my mind, I have the like sophisticated, critically acclaimed review rating, but I also have the damn, that was so cool review.
No, because for most of my film reviews I don't go critical, like unless like a movie like Sinners, right? Like where they do the technical, right?
Yeah.
Where I can like the movie, I love it because of the technicals.
Dude,
but
Sinners
if the
was
movie
freaking
is
amazing.
just
It's like
fun,
top 2 this
it
year.
can be a fun 10 out of 10
Yeah.
film as well. Like that's not.
I'll
but
just
you
say
go to
this.
Mission Impossible, you go to Mission Impossible for the cool Ethan Hunt aspect. Mainly,
That's true.
I'm going for the plane scene and the
Submarine.
underwater submarine
Yeah.
scene.
I mean, what I want from this one is like,
it,
it just has to wrap up all the things perfectly. It has to have the good family bonding stuff,
Yeah.
good stunts, like obviously Storm Cruiser. That's all I want from
I
this
will-
film.
all
and
you
it's a
want,
good one. Yeah.
all I want to see is just man doing action on plane.
oh,
That's
No,
all I want to see
I'll
on an
say
IMAX
this.
screen, man.
If history indicates what this film's gonna come out at the end based on the endings of the past films, I would also
Are
not
you
be
suggesting he might die?
I really don't want them to
I don't
go
think
that
they're
route.
gonna
Right,
kill
no.
him off.
No, here's the thing.
Because
The
they did that with Bond, but I
You
don't
have,
think they're
you have
gonna do
two
that
ways to
again.
look at it, right? One way is every film in the past ended with him. I wouldn't say him having his happy ending, but him finally relaxing that he did his job well, right?
But then
Yes.
the next movie comes on and there's the
Yeah.
whole thing.
But then the other way you can see it is that there is a way this film could end with the perfect send off. Because a lot of major personal life stories have already been closed. For example, the question of his family with his wife, the question of, you know, the friends that he and the bonds he's made. There's so many of those things about him have been closed. If anything, there are questions about the other characters that have been closed. Like, for example, Luther's completely disconnected from the group to hack into the system. What's happening with him? Benji is officially the only friend that Ethan has, but how does Benji grow in the rest of the IMF? You want to go to the rest of them. Palm Clementov's character, no longer backing the entity. Where does she play? Haley Atwell's character now becomes a member of the IMF. Kittredge is now playing this role where he is the director of the CIA, but look and behold, Angela Bassett's back. She was the director of the CIA. What
Yeah.
happened to her? So, if anything, this movie, I personally do have a feeling that it's going to focus a lot more on closing everyone else's story, because Ethan's only plot point that's left is explained to us is how did he get into the IMF? Because this,
Yes.
in the last one, it showed that he did a bad thing, and then the only way to protect it was to join the IMF.
Yes, that's
So this is the
big
plot point
point.
I need to see closed.
Now I see where you're
Yes,
going.
that's a good
Exactly.
point. I
This was
realized
not
that.
in my
Amazing.
mind.
That's why he's the guest of the episode.
That's
That's why we brought him here, guys.
Fun fact, I have not rewatched the film since I saw it.
But then you have it fresh in your head,
Yeah.
surprisingly.
See, you know it. This
All
is
right.
this is a fan. This is what we call a fan.
Addiction, if anything. But no, I guess as you were gonna say to close, just before you close, would like to say thank you for having me on.
Thank
I
you for
really do
coming.
Thank you for
appreciate
coming,
it.
man.
I hope in the near future I can come on again, or
Yeah, there's a
whatever
lot
happens.
more stuff to
There's
talk
a
about.
lot more
By
stuff
the
to
same
talk.
time, I also want to wish you guys the best of luck with the project, making sure it grows.
Yes.
And everyone listening, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to like, comment, share, follow, and hit post notifications.
That's my
Well,
man.
that's the ending,
man, bro.
This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds. Bye!
Very special shout out to Rove Podcast Studio for helping us out with this episode. They have amazing mics, they have good lighting setup, and there's some amazing quality studio. So come down to Rove downtown if you ever want to get like a podcast shoot or something. This is the perfect place for your
This is
podcast.
the perfect place
This
for the
is
podcast
the
shoots.
podcast studio.
The podcast.
The podcast.